Hi everyone, we're back for Act 3 of Coppelia. So where we left off, Swanhilda broke into Dr. Coppelius' house with all her friends. They ran around, played around with the dolls, the friends left. Swanhilda comes out, does the whole scene, and then now Franz has gone back over the balcony to escape and Swanhilda is left. So Franz still doesn't know that anything about what Swanhilda was doing or that she's dressed up like the doll or anything like that. So now, remember, there was a festival that's supposed to happen this next day. So this is back in the square, and this is the wedding scene, but this is the festival that they had talked about in the first act. The festival day has arrived, and all the villagers have gathered in the sun on the manor house lawn to take part in the celebration. The town's new bell has been blessed, and the lord of the manor awaits the presentation of dowries to those who will marry on the holiday. Dowries are a ancient practice that you would give money. Like if Sadie was getting married, we would provide a dowry to whoever married her. Stupid, I know. But fortunately, that's not something that still happens in the United States. But this is a ballet, remember, that took place hundreds of years ago. So these are peasants that live under a lord that's kind of in charge of a whole bunch of houses on the same property. And remember that this is a celebration because they got a new bell. I know, it's not really that exciting, but back then this would have been an exciting thing to happen. So the bell has been blessed for the town, and the lord of the manor is getting ready to marry anyone that wants to get married on this day. Swanhilda is dressed as a bride, and Franz is also dressed more formally. And they approach the Lord with the other couples, and Franz can't take his eyes off Swanhilda, who has taught him the lesson he didn't know that he needed to learn, that he really does love her, and that it was foolish of him to see this doll and fall in love with her when he didn't really even know that she was human, right? He knows now that as his wife, she's the woman for him. And so all the villagers come together, and the lord of the manor congratulates them and decides to do all the wedding ceremonies. Dr. Coppelius marches in. He's pretty mad and upset now because of all the damage to all his dolls inside his house. Coppelius is so intent on securing compensation rather than explanations and apologies that the crowd does not sympathize with him at all. Like, he just comes in all crazy, like, you broke my dolls, you're gonna pay, and I want my money. Like, he's mad. The only one who sympathizes is Swanhilda, who steps forward and offers the money that would have gone for them to start their new life, her dowry. So she feels guilty because she knows it's her fault. Like, she was the one that broke into his house and damaged all his dolls. So she offers him the money that she was going to take to start a new life with Franz. And Dr. Coppelius is about to take it, but the lord of the manor motions Swanhilda away and rewards the toy maker with a bag of gold instead. So the lord says, no, Swanhilda, it's okay, I'll take care of it. The old man leaves the scene, wondering whether it will ever be possible for him to create a doll as lovable as his ill-fated Coppelia. Because remember, she was kind of left broken and battered on the balcony after Swanhilda stole her clothes and darted out of his house.
I thought Swanhilda and Franz broke up.
They did break up. So yeah, there's I know, right? There's a missing part of the story here. Like, this is kind of what happens in ballets sometimes. Like, it's like they fast forwarded the Netflix version and like they skipped because maybe that was the boring part because maybe they like had a big fight. I don't know, but yeah, we're supposed to assume now that like everything's okay in a day. Like, seriously, but it's a ballet, so it has to happen all at once, right? Yeah, but
confused.
It was written a while ago, so it's all right. So this is the act where we have all of the individual dances as a celebration of the weddings and the christening of this new belle for the town. So this is where a lot of the solos come in. This is where we're going to have Waltz of the Hours here in a little bit. So Again, the peasants dance the familiar dance of the hours, in which the arrangement of the performers imitates the progress of the hours around an enormous clock, and the music kind of ticks away the time. The 12 girls form a circle like the face of an enormous clock, kneel toward the center, and one by one pirouette and kneel again, telling the time away. So it represents the passing of time. So in one of the versions, I think it might be Bolshoi, instead of doing, they like kind of do military time instead of the clocks that we know having 12 hours. So there's usually 24 dancers in the Bolshoi version, and they are divided up into groups of 6. So it's 6, so 4 groups of 6, 24 divided by 6 is 4. And it represents the 24 hours of the day. And so you have 6 girls dressed in usually black, and that's nighttime. You have 6 girls that are dressed in, let me think, orange. I think it's like an orangish yellow, which represents like the sun, like the sunrise, I guess would be like the sunrise hours. Then there's daytime, which is usually blue. Yeah, 6 girls dressed in blue, representing, the blue sky of daylight. And then it's usually 6 in like a purple or a pink, which represents sunset. So it's it's like the end of the day. So you have the 4 colors, or you can do 4 colors with 3 girls each, and just do the 12 hours around the clock. So that's Dance of the Hours, and a lot of you guys are doing that. Soft woodwinds herald the arrival of dawn, danced by one dancer. Her dance with the music is at first slow and tentative, like the gradual approach of light, so sunrise, right? Then her body responds to bright, wakening music, and she celebrates the rising sun. So there's 2 solos usually, and it's prayer and dawn. So dawn represents the early morning hours. So it starts off really slow and quiet, and it gets louder and louder and louder as the sun is rising, the birds are waking up, the people are waking up and starting to move around and do their daily activities.
The roosters.
That's Lafitte. That's another ballet.
No, roosters wake up in the morning though.
Roosters do wake up in the morning, but that's Lafitte. That's another ballet. We'll talk about that later.
It's in that book.
So then another soloist comes in, and that's prayer. It's a quiet girl that usually is dancing with clasped hands in some way. It depends on what the choreography is. And she turns slowly in deep arabesque, and she kneels at the harp at the end of the music of her dance, because, the way that the music ends at the end with the harp. And those variations are pretty hard. Yeah, I don't know who's dancing those in the June/July/August/whenever show. But great dances, beautiful, beautiful, very, very difficult. A peasant couple performs a dance to rhythmic piping music. They bow to the lord of the manor, and they all await the arrival of the bride and groom, which, again, we fast-forwarded this whole reconciliation between Franz and Swadhilda. Still not sure what went down. It was, like, private. It was private, so we don't know. But they're back again. They're getting married. So I don't know if I would have taken Franz back. Would you be taking Franz back?
No, but maybe they just had to do it because they couldn't cancel it. That makes no sense, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would have forgiven Franz. I don't know. That's up to you ladies to decide. But I think I probably would have moved on. Yeah, I would have moved on.
What do you do then?
So Franz bows and holds out his hand to Swanhilda. Well, what did he do? He thought he was in love with a doll. Are you kidding me?
I forgot.
Oh man, he would be so done, right? Right? Like he's waving to a doll in a window. Like, yeah, I don't have time for a guy like that.
Why a doll?
I know, right? Who has time for a guy like that?
You can't marry a doll. I don't think you wanna.
You hear that?
With plastic.
Your character. It's a little crazy. Okay, so Franz bows and holds out his hand to Swanhilda. Together they dance a moving adagio and a deep melody from the strings. So the string instruments are the ones that do this variation, play this variation. Franz carries Swanhilda high on his shoulder, sets her down gently, and the girls kneel before him. She rises on point. And I just like to point out that whoever wrote this book and edited this book, every time they say on point, they don't put an E on the end. It's really annoying. So, again, she rises on point, pirouettes swiftly in his arms, is lifted again, released, and caught as Franz holds her across his knee. He turns an arabesque, and the dance that symbolizes their reconciliation and pledged happiness comes to an end. So, this adagio, represents that, they've forgiven each other, blah, blah, blah. Like, better her than me, but whatever. Their dance together and the variation each now performs alone reveal the youthful strength and tenderness each possesses for the other. When they have finished, all the villagers join the smiling couple in a fast, constantly accelerating dance in which the whole company becomes a part of the breathless happiness reflected in the shining faces of our main characters, Swanhilda and Franz. And that is the end of the ballet. So I think, if I remember correctly, the ending, like so many ballets, is kind of the same music as it starts with. It's that really fast mazurka, exciting dance. So, remember me in my mazurka costume? Me, the tall one in the center there? Yeah, that's it. So this is one of the worst costumes in the history of me dancing for Waltz of the Hours. So I was day. Yeah, it was one of the daytime hours, I guess you could say. Yeah, me in the blue. Yeah, that costume was like super itchy. Like, you ladies out there, I'm telling you, you are so lucky to have Nan and I and all the fabulous ladies in detailing, because we would never, ever, ever let you go on stage in this hideous costume. Because look, so here's me in this awful, itchy, blue, hideous, like, falling apart costume, right? So here comes along my friends, Kelly and Nicole, and they were Prayer and Dawn. So this is Dawn, because like all the pretty colors of dawn, like the sunrise, right? Like the yellows, and that's Nicole, so she was Prayer. Like, what is this? What is this, ladies? My friends have these gorgeous costumes, and I am stuck with the most hideous Waltz of the Hours costume ever. I would never do that to you, ladies. All of our costumes are absolutely gorgeous, right? You guys all look fabulous. All right, so that is our version of Coppelia as told in this book. If you want to find this book, I think I bought it on Amazon, because where else do I shop? It is pretty long, but it legitimately has 101 stories of the great ballets, and they're nice and concise. And a lot of times we learn all these variations for YGP and the June show, and we don't always have time to tell the story of all these ballets, because, well, you guys have to do some work too. It's not all about me. Come on. You guys can read a book. So this has pretty much all you want to know. So Jules is in here for Balanchine. We got Firebird, Lafitte, which is like one of my favorite ballets.
The rooster.
And I never got to be a chicken. I always wanted to be a chicken. I'm telling you, ladies, like, you get these roles sometimes in these ballets, and you think, what is this part? I don't want to be this part. I want the solo. But I'm telling you that the best part in the history of ballet is the rooster and the chickens and Lafitte. So let's see what else we have. We have Orpheus and Romeo and Juliet, Cinderella, Concerto Barocco, Don Q. Paquita's in here. I think Paquita's in here. Why wouldn't it be?
Nutcracker.
Paquita is not in here. What is that? It has a lot of the Balanchine, like, specific ballets, like Serenade and, oh, my favorite, Who Cares? Who Cares? Uses, I can't think of it now. Yeah, it's one of my favorite Balanchines, but I can't remember the composer. Yeah. It's been a long isolation already. Let's see, Symphony in C, Les Sophie, I can't even say it. Swan Lake. Is that how you say it?
Swan Lake.
Les Sophie, this one.
Sophie.
And I took 5 years of French, ladies, and I still have trouble, right? Am I right?
I've taken 4 days of French over
She
the
took
summer.
4 days, right?
Like
so,
2 years ago.
anyway, if you are interested while you are at home and you are sick of doing the greatest subject ever, biology, then you should find this book or look up online, even just Wikipedia, and search for these ballets and just read about them, because we learn all these variations from YGP, and sometimes we don't know the context of the ballet that they go in. So you watch Gigi did Swanhilda's dance for YGP, and it looks kind of silly when you don't have the set behind you and you don't know the story of the ballet, because she's going like this and she's getting mad that this doll, like she's gesturing that this doll is reading the book, but you don't know that on the set, on the stage for the actual ballet, and the context of this variation is props. The doll is up on the balcony that she's gesturing to. So it's important when you learn these variations that you know where they fit in the story, so that you can use your acting skills to make the dance better. So if you know that this dance is about her trying to like wake up a doll she's kind of annoyed with because she's flirting with her fiance, then you can play the part better, and then the variation just looks that much better. So highly recommend if you're interested in learning about all the great ballets out there. And maybe Sadie and I can read one of the other ones. Romeo and Juliet might be a good one.
I've never seen that one before.
Maybe we can take a t-shirt and a pair of old tights and like make our own like Juliet tops.
What are Juliet tops? I've never seen
It has
Romeo
like
and Juliet.
it has like this it's like this Renaissance type costume where the sleeves are real tight, and then it's this puff sleeve right here, and
like
the bodice is really tight.
Oh, like the one I had for party scene that one time, that blue one?
A little bit, yeah. So yeah, it's like this Renaissance style. But if you take an old t-shirt and you put tie it up with like a scrunchie with like a pair of old tights on your arms, man, we could be Juliet. So maybe we'll do that. Maybe we can do that. That would be fun. So practice, 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 and do all the great classes with Miss Becca and Allison and all of the CLI classes and Katie Harper. So make sure you're doing all your classes and you're stretching all day, and Sadie and I will see you soon. Bye.